Before the great herds surge across the Savannah, a hush settles over the land, a moment of anticipation, as if the entire ecosystem is holding its breath. The animals sense a change long before the first distant rumble of hooves. In the cool stillness of early morning, wildebeest gather in loose groups, their noses lifted to the breeze, sniffing for the scent of rain. Zebras graze quietly, their ears flicking at the faintest sounds, while gazelles move restlessly, their slender forms silhouetted against the pale grass. Across the plains, subtle signals ripple through the animal kingdom. The grass, brittle and sun-bleached after months of drought, begins to show hints of green as the first scattered showers touch the earth. Clouds gather on the horizon, their dark bellies promising relief. The air is thick with the calls of birds, their songs rising in a chorus that signals the shifting season. Predators, too, sense what's coming. Lions lounge beneath acacia trees, their golden eyes tracking the movements of the gathering herds. Jackals and hyenas patrol the edges, alert to any sign of weakness. Even the insects seem to know. Ants build up their mounds, butterflies flutter in greater numbers, and dung beetles roll their treasures across the dampening soil. For the wildebeest, zebras and gazelles, this is a time of preparation. Mothers nudge their calves, urging them to practice standing and walking, knowing that soon every step will matter. Muscles are tested, bonds are reinforced, and the herds grow restless with the instinct to move. The anticipation is palpable, a low collective hum that vibrates through the grasslands. All around, the land waits. Rivers shrink to muddy trickles, pools dry up, and the animals gather at dwindling water sources, sharing uneasy truces as they drink side by side. The sky grows heavier each day, and the scent of distant rain stirs a deep, ancient memory. Soon, the migration will begin, but for now, the Savannah is a stage set for the greatest journey on Earth, each creature poised on the edge of action, waiting for nature's signal to move. As dawn breaks over the endless plains of East Africa, the land is bathed in a golden light, painting the Savannah in hues of amber and ochre. The air is crisp, carrying the faint scent of dew on dry grass, and the horizon stretches unbroken, save for the gentle undulations of acacia-dotted hills. In this vast, untamed wilderness, a stirring begins, a subtle tremor that grows into a living tide. It is the beginning of a relentless, circular journey known as the Great Migration, a phenomenon that transforms the landscape into a living, breathing tapestry of movement and life. The earth seems to pulse beneath the hooves of over 2 million animals, their bodies weaving together in a seamless, undulating mass that stretches as far as the eye can see. This is not a fleeting passage, but the largest overland migration on our planet, a spectacle of such scale that it shapes the very character of the land. Imagine the ground trembling as an enormous thundering herd surges forward, each animal driven by an ancient instinct. The wildebeest, with their shaggy manes and curved horns, move in tight formation, their eyes wide and alert, muscles rippling beneath dust-caked hides. The air is thick with the haze of dust kicked up by thousands of pounding hooves, swirling in the golden light. The low guttural grunts of wildebeest blend with the rhythmic thud of their movement, creating a symphony that echoes across the plains. Along the riverbanks, herds pause to drink, their muzzles breaking the glassy surface of the water. Newborn calves, still unsteady on their legs, nuzzle close to their mothers, while older animals graze on the fresh emerald shoots that have sprung up after the rains. This epic pilgrimage is a story of survival, of birth and death, and of an ancient rhythm that has pulsed through this landscape for millennia, a continuous search for life-giving water and lush grazing land. The wildebeest are the heart of this grand drama, their numbers swelling to over 1.5 million. They move as one, their bodies pressed close, each step guided by a deep-seated memory of the land and its cycles. Flanking the wildebeest are the zebras, their striking black and white stripes flashing in the sunlight. They move with a purposeful grace, their heads held high, ever watchful. The zebras' sharp eyes and keen senses help alert the herd to danger, while their presence adds a vibrant contrast to the dusty brown sea of wildebeest. Trailing behind, hundreds of thousands of Thompson's gazelles pick delicately at the tender new grass left in the wake of the larger animals. Their slender bodies dart and weave through the throng, their movements quick and agile, always alert to the shifting moods of the savannah. Together, these animals embark on a clockwise odyssey of nearly 2,000 kilometers, tracing a route that leads from the boundless Serengeti plains in Tanzania to the lush rolling grasslands of the Maasai Mara in Kenya, and back again. The journey is a living river, flowing across the land, shaping the ecosystem with every step. The migration is orchestrated by the seasons, a precise and instinctual response to the arrival of life-giving rains. Dark clouds gather on the horizon, their shadows racing across the plains, and the herds move in anticipation, drawn by the promise of renewal. The animals chase the storms, following the scent of rain on the wind. As the first drops fall, the earth transforms, parched soil softens, and a carpet of green unfurls almost overnight. The herds graze hungrily, their bodies replenished by the fresh, succulent grasses. Yet, the promise of abundance is fleeting. The herds must keep moving, always staying ahead of the drought, always searching for the next patch of green that will sustain them through the long, dry months. This journey is etched into their very being, a legacy passed down through countless generations. Calves born on the move learn to walk within minutes, their first steps taken amidst the dust and thunder of the herd. The migration is a force of nature, a living river that carves its path across the savannah, shaping the land and the lives of all who dwell within it. The grasslands are sculpted by the passage of hooves, and the very air vibrates with the energy of the moving herds. But the journey is fraught with peril. At every turn, danger lurks. Rivers swollen by recent rains become formidable barriers, their banks crowded with hesitant animals, the air thick with tension. The savannah is a land of hunters and hunted. Lions crouch in the tall grass, their golden eyes fixed on the herd. Crocodiles lie in wait beneath the surface of muddy rivers, while hyenas and leopards prowl the shadows, each predator attuned to the rhythms of the migration, their survival intertwined with that of the herds. The environment itself is a formidable adversary. Rivers surge with powerful currents, claiming the unwary, while vast stretches of arid land test the endurance of every creature. The sun beats down mercilessly, and the wind carries the promise of both hope and hardship. In this epic struggle, only the strongest and most fortunate will survive. The weak and the weary fall behind, claimed by the elements or the ever-watchful predators. Yet the circle continues, renewed each year by the birth of new life and the unyielding drive to endure. The Great Migration is a testament to the resilience and beauty of life in one of the world's last great wildernesses, a living epic written across the endless plains, where the story of survival, struggle, and renewal begins anew with every sunrise. As the sun dips below the horizon, the savannah undergoes a dramatic transformation. The golden light of day yields to a deep indigo, and the world is cloaked in shadow. For the migrating herds, nightfall brings no true rest, only new challenges and unseen dangers. Under the vast starlit sky, a hush falls over the plains. The wildebeest and zebras bunch tightly together, their bodies pressed close for warmth and safety. Their eyes, wide and glinting in the moonlight, scan the darkness for threats. Calves nestle beside their mothers, lulled by the steady rhythm of breathing and the soft rustle of grass. But for others, the night is just beginning. Predators emerge from their daytime concealment, perfectly adapted to hunt in near darkness. Lions move with ghostly silence, their tawny coats blending with the shadows. They communicate with low, rumbling growls, a signal for the pride to coordinate their approach. The cool air carries the scent of the herd, guiding the hunters to their quarry. Hyenas, ever opportunistic, patrol the peripheries. Their eerie calls echo across the plains, a chorus that chills the night. Unlike lions, hyenas rely on their keen sense of hearing and smell, detecting the faintest signs of weakness or distress among the herds. In the darkness, they become relentless pursuers, capable of running down prey over long distances. Leopards, solitary and elusive, stalk the tangled thickets and rocky outcrops. They rely on stealth and agility, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. With a sudden burst of speed, they can bring down an unsuspecting gazelle or even a young wildebeest, vanishing into the night with their prize. For the prey, survival depends on vigilance and unity. The herds remain alert, their ears attuned to every sound, the snap of a twig, the distant roar of a lion, the rustle of a predator's approach. Some animals, like the Thompson's gazelle, rest in short bursts, always ready to leap to their feet at a moment's notice. The night also brings other challenges. The temperature drops sharply, and a thick mist may settle over the grasslands, blurring shapes and muffling sounds. Navigating in the darkness becomes perilous, especially for the youngest and most vulnerable. Rivers, difficult to cross by day, turn into inky ribbons of uncertainty, their currents hiding silent dangers. Yet the darkness is not without its moments of wonder. Fireflies flicker above the grasses, and the distant whoop of owls drifts on the breeze. The migration continues, a slow, restless tide moving through the night, each animal driven by the same ancient urge to survive and press onward. In these hours, the Savannah belongs to the shadows. Every step is a test of instinct and endurance, every breath a gamble between safety and peril. As dawn approaches, the herds endure, those who survive the night emerging into the first light, ready to face another day on their epic journey. Each year, as the calendar turns from December to March, the southern plains of the Serengeti, especially the fertile region of Ndutu, become the stage for one of nature's most breathtaking spectacles. Here the great migration's cycle begins anew as hundreds of thousands of wildebeest converge upon the grasslands, drawn by the promise of life. The short rains have swept across the land, coaxing the once parched earth into a lush, emerald expanse. The air is thick with the scent of fresh grass, and the ground pulses with new growth, short, tender blades, rich in nutrients, carpeting the savanna as far as the eye can see. Beneath their hooves, the volcanic soil, dark and mineral-laden, offers nourishment not just to the grasses, but to the mothers themselves. For the wildebeest, this is a nursery without walls, a cradle shaped by the land itself, where the next generation will take its first breath. In this fleeting paradise, the herds gather in astonishing numbers. Pregnant females, heavy with new life, cluster together, their instincts guiding them to safety in numbers. The air is alive with anticipation as the time for birth draws near. Suddenly, the plains are transformed. All at once, as if by silent agreement, the birthing begins. Mothers drop to the ground, their bodies racked with the effort of labor. The process is swift. Nature has little patience for delay. Within minutes, slick, trembling calves emerge into the world, blinking in the golden light, their coats still wet from birth. Over the course of just 2 to 3 weeks, the plains are dotted with new life. An estimated 500,000 calves are born in this brief window, their numbers swelling the herds and filling the air with the plaintive calls of mothers and young. This mass birthing is no accident. It is a survival strategy known as predator swamping. By synchronizing their births, the wildebeest ensure that predators cannot possibly take them all. The sheer abundance of vulnerable calves overwhelms the hunters, giving each newborn a greater chance of survival. Yet, danger is never far. Lions, cheetahs, and hyenas prowl the edges of the herds, their eyes fixed on the weakest and slowest. For the predators, this is a time of plenty. They watch, waiting for a moment's lapse. A calf that stumbles, a mother distracted. For a newborn, every second counts. A mother nudges her calf, urging it to stand. The calf's legs tremble, unsteady and thin, but instinct drives it upward. The sooner it can stand, the better its odds of survival. The struggle is intense. Some calves collapse, only to try again, their determination fierce. The herd is always on the move, and those who cannot rise are left behind, exposed to the ever-watchful eyes of predators. But most succeed. Within minutes they find their footing, and within hours they are running, awkward but swift, beside their mothers, swept along by the tide of the herd. The bond between mother and calf is immediate and powerful, a lifeline in a world where danger lurks at every turn. Alongside the wildebeest, the zebras move with purpose, often leading the migration. Their presence is a signal that the journey will soon continue. Unlike the wildebeest, zebras do not synchronize their births. Their foals arrive throughout the year, each one a testament to the resilience of life on the plains. Zebra foals, born at all seasons, must also learn quickly. Their mothers are vigilant, keeping them close, teaching them to recognize the subtle signals of the herd. The zebras graze on the taller, coarser grasses, their strong teeth and digestive systems perfectly adapted to the tough stems. They are the pioneers, clearing the way for those who follow. By consuming the upper layers, zebras expose the tender shoots beneath, creating a banquet for the wildebeest, who prefer the sweeter, shorter blades. This cooperation between species is a silent partnership, each benefiting from the other's presence, each playing a role in the grand choreography of the migration. Together, they form a living tapestry: zebra, wildebeest, and trailing behind, the Thompson's gazelles. Zebra foals, like their wildebeest counterparts, are quick to their feet, running with the herd soon after birth, their survival dependent on speed and vigilance. The Thompson's gazelles, delicate and alert, complete this trio of grazers. They follow in the wake of the larger herds, seeking out the freshest shoots and herbs revealed by the intense grazing. Their small size and agility allow them to thrive where others cannot, darting between the legs of giants, always alert for danger. For the gazelle, survival demands a different strategy. Mothers hide their fawns in the tall grass, leaving them motionless and nearly invisible, their spotted coats blending perfectly with the dappled light. The fawns remain utterly still, their only defense against the ever-present threat of predators. Silence and camouflage are their shields in these first fragile days. Several times a day the mothers return to nurse, always watchful, always wary. Only when the fawns are strong enough do they join the herd, ready to face the dangers of the open plains. In this season of renewal, the southern Serengeti becomes a cradle of life and a crucible of survival. Here, the story of the Great Migration begins, written in the hoofprints of the herds and the first tentative steps of the newborns, each one a testament to the enduring power of nature. Gap 2s. As the great herds move across the Serengeti, another migration unfolds overhead and all around, a migration of wings. Birds, both resident and migratory, are drawn to the spectacle, weaving their lives into the tapestry of the journey. Above the undulating columns of wildebeest and zebra, the skies pulse with life. Storks, herons, and egrets follow the herds, stalking through the grass in the wake of thousands of hooves. Their keen eyes scan the ground for insects and small creatures disturbed by the passing animals. For these birds, the migration is a moving banquet, a chance to feast on grasshoppers, beetles, and lizards that would otherwise remain hidden. As wildebeest graze and trample the grass, they create opportunities for birds to find food with every step. But not all birds are content to simply follow. The oxpecker, small and vigilant, rides directly on the backs of wildebeest, zebras, and even buffalo. With sharp beaks they pluck ticks and parasites from their hosts, providing a vital service. The relationship is not always one of perfect harmony. Oxpeckers sometimes irritate open wounds, but for the most part, their presence is a welcome relief to the mammals of the plains. Above the chaos, raptors circle, vultures, eagles, and kites. Their broad wings catch the warm thermals rising from the sun-baked earth. Vultures are the sentinels of the savanna, their sharp eyesight attuned to the slightest movement below. When a predator makes a kill, or when a calf is lost, these scavengers are never far behind. In moments the sky darkens with their arrival, and the clean-up crew descends. With powerful beaks they strip flesh from bone, ensuring that nothing is wasted, returning nutrients to the soil and helping to prevent the spread of disease. Even the small and often overlooked birds play their part. Flocks of red-billed quailias, sometimes numbering in the millions, sweep across the grasslands like living clouds. They feed on seeds scattered by trampling hooves and are themselves a source of food for hungry falcons and kestrels. Each bird, from the stately secretary bird striding through the grass in search of snakes to the iridescent starlings flitting from acacia to acacia, has a role to play. Together, the birds and the herds form a living network, each benefiting from the presence of the other, each shaping the landscape in ways both seen and unseen. In the Great Migration, the story of survival is not written by hooves alone, but by feathers and wings, by the silent watchers above and the tireless foragers below. The Serengeti's birds remind us that every journey, no matter how grand, is a chorus of many voices, each note essential to the wild symphony of life. As the months of April and May arrive, the life-giving rains on the southern plains begin to cease. The green grasses that sustain the herds start to wither and turn yellow under the relentless African sun. The land dries out and the signal to move becomes impossible to ignore. Driven by thirst and hunger, the great herds begin their long march northward and westward, toward the Serengeti's western corridor. This leg of the journey is arduous, with the animals sometimes covering more than 10 kilometers in a single day. The columns of wildebeest can stretch for miles, a moving river of life snaking across the vast open landscape in search of greener pastures. This northward journey is a time of great stress and exhaustion, which makes the herds particularly vulnerable to predators. Lions, which often hunt in coordinated prides, lie in ambush in the tall grasses and acacia woodlands that line the migration route. Cheetahs, the fastest land animals on Earth, use their incredible speed to chase down stragglers on the open plains. Spotted hyenas, with their powerful jaws, often follow the herds for days, waiting for an opportunity to pick off the weak, the young, or the unwell. For the predators of the Serengeti, the passing of the great herds is a time of feast, and they take full advantage of the abundance of prey. The first major obstacle on this northward trek is the Grumeti River, a winding ribbon of water that carves through the heart of the Serengeti. Though not as wide or as famous as the Mara River to the north, the Grumeti presents a formidable challenge, its muddy banks and unpredictable currents concealing hidden dangers. Its channels are deep, and its waters are home to some of Africa's largest Nile crocodiles, ancient predators perfectly adapted to this environment. These massive reptiles, armored and patient, lie in wait at the river's edge, their eyes just above the surface, watching for the telltale vibrations of hooves. Crocodiles are masters of stillness, remaining motionless for hours, conserving energy until the herds gather in sufficient numbers to make their move worthwhile. When the wildebeest finally surge forward, the river explodes into chaos. Crocodiles launch themselves with astonishing speed, targeting the young, the weak, or the isolated, those most vulnerable in the confusion. The herds employ a strategy of numbers, gathering in dense clusters at the riverbank. This massed approach confuses the crocodiles, making it harder for them to single out a target. Sometimes, the animals wait for hours or even days, their numbers swelling, the tension mounting. The pressure of the crowd and the need for water eventually force the crossing. Anxiety ripples through the herd. Each animal senses the danger, their instincts urging caution, yet the collective need to move forward grows irresistible. At last, one bold wildebeest leaps into the water, and the rest follow in a thundering stampede. The river becomes a churning mass of bodies, hooves, and splashing water. Crossing together in vast numbers, the wildebeest increase their odds of survival. The confusion and sheer volume of animals make it difficult for crocodiles to focus on a single victim. Some make it to the far bank, soaked and trembling, while others are claimed by the river's guardians. The Grumeti's ecosystem thrives on this annual drama. Crocodiles feast, fish scavenge the remains, and scavenging birds gather overhead, all part of the intricate web of life that depends on the migration. The river itself is transformed by the crossing. Fish feed on scraps, birds like marabou storks and vultures descend to clean up, and the lush vegetation along the banks flourishes from the nutrients left behind. The Grumeti is not just an obstacle, it is a living artery, sustaining countless forms of life, shaped by the courage and sacrifice of the migrating herds. Beneath the pounding hooves and swirling dust of the Great Migration lies another world, a hidden kingdom of insects whose lives are as dramatic and vital as those of the herds above. Here, in the shadows of the grass and along the muddy riverbanks, millions of tiny creatures are hard at work, playing silent but crucial roles in the Serengeti's grand spectacle. Dung beetles are among the unsung heroes of the migration. As the herds move, they leave behind vast quantities of droppings, an abundant resource in this ecosystem. Dung beetles arrive by the thousands, rolling, burying and feeding on these nutrient-rich deposits. Their tireless efforts recycle nutrients back into the soil, fertilizing the grasses that will feed the next generation of grazers. Each beetle's journey is a race against time and competition, as birds and other insects vie for the same prize. In the tall grasses, swarms of grasshoppers and locusts feed on the fresh shoots left in the wake of the herds. As the dry season deepens and vegetation becomes scarce, these insects must move with the migration or risk starvation. Their presence attracts flocks of birds and small mammals, weaving another thread in the food web that sustains the savanna. Even the river crossings are shaped by insects. Clouds of biting flies and mosquitoes descend on the herds as they pause at the water's edge, testing the patience and resilience of every animal. Wildebeest and zebra twitch and stamp, seeking relief from the relentless assault. For some, these bites are more than an irritation. They can carry diseases that test the endurance of the herds. Yet, insects are not merely pests. Butterflies and bees flutter from flower to flower, pollinating the savanna's blooms and ensuring the renewal of life. Ants march in orderly columns, scavenging leftovers from predator kills and cleaning the landscape. Termites, hidden in their mounds, tirelessly break down dead plant matter, enriching the soil beneath the feet of giants. Through drought and deluge, the insects of the Serengeti persist, adapting to the rhythms of migration. Their survival depends on timing, emerging in sync with the rains, the grasses, and the passing herds. Though small and often overlooked, they are the heartbeat of the plains, sustaining life in ways both seen and unseen. As the herds move ever northward, the insect world moves with them, an intricate, indispensable force in the endless cycle of migration. As the herds surge onward through the Serengeti's western corridor and northern plains in June and July, the landscape becomes a stage for one of nature's most intense dramas. Another powerful instinct takes hold. The rut, an annual surge of energy and purpose, transforms the herds. Bulls, driven by the urge to secure their legacy, begin to display and challenge one another. The air, already thick with dust, now crackles with tension. Every movement, every sound is amplified as competition and courtship intertwine. The focus shifts from the endless search for food and water to the urgent need to find a mate. Bulls parade and posture, vying for the attention of females, each encounter a test of strength and resolve. For the males, this is a time of relentless exertion. They spar, chase, and defend, often at the expense of their own well-being. Temporary territories are staked out. Bulls bellow, their calls echoing across the plains, a challenge to rivals and an invitation to females. Each patch of ground becomes a fiercely guarded prize. The sounds of the rut are unmistakable, nasal grunts, bellows, and the rhythmic thud of hooves. The dawn chorus is a symphony of competition. Bulls clash in dramatic battles, horns locking, dust swirling around them. Each contest is a display of stamina and power, a gamble for the right to sire the next generation. Though rarely fatal, these fights leave many battered and weary. The victors earn the chance to mate, while the defeated retreat, nursing wounds and pride. Dominant bulls patrol their territories ceaselessly, chasing away intruders and courting any receptive females. Every moment is a test of vigilance and endurance. Exhaustion takes its toll. Many bulls, weakened by constant fighting and little rest, become vulnerable. The ever-present threat of predators grows as fatigue sets in. Yet the drive to pass on their genes outweighs all risks. Each bull is locked in a high-stakes gamble, sacrificing safety for a fleeting chance at legacy. Nearby, zebra stallions are drawn into their own contests. The dust rises as they challenge one another, each determined to claim or defend a harem. Zebras form tight-knit family groups called harems, led by a single stallion. His role is both protector and challenger, constantly tested by rivals. During the rut, rival stallions approach, sizing up the dominant male. Each encounter is a tense standoff, a silent negotiation before the storm. When words fail, action erupts. Stallions rear, bite, and kick, their bodies twisting in a blur of muscle and dust. The struggle is fierce, the outcome uncertain. The air fills with the sharp, barking calls of zebras, adding to the cacophony of the migration. Each sound is a signal of warning, of challenge, of belonging. A victorious stallion stands guard over his family, nuzzling foals and mares, his vigilance ensuring the safety and future of his lineage. All of this unfolds as the land itself grows harsher. The dry season tightens its grip, and the struggle for survival intensifies. Waterholes shrink, grass withers, and the herds must search ever farther for sustenance. Hunger and thirst become constant companions. The once mighty herds fragment, breaking into smaller groups that fan out across the plains. Each group faces its own challenges, each step a risk. Predators lurk at the edges, watching for any sign of weakness. The distraction of the rut and the dispersal of the herds create new opportunities for ambush. Lions, leopards, and hyenas prowl the grass, their senses attuned to the vulnerable and the weary. Every moment is a test of awareness and instinct. Amidst the dust and danger, new life emerges. Calves and foals take their first steps, watched over by mothers and threatened by predators. The cycle of life and death continues, each animal playing its part in the epic contest for survival and lineage. As the months pass and the rains begin to fade, the once lush grasses of the Maasai Mara are cropped short by countless mouths. The days grow hotter, the rivers slow to a trickle, and the sky shifts from stormy grey to a piercing blue. Instinct stirs once again within the great herds, an ancient signal that it is time to move. Slowly, the wildebeest and zebras gather, their bodies lean from months of travel and survival. The air hums with anticipation. Calves, now stronger, follow at their mother's heels. The herds begin their long return southward, retracing the path that brought them to these green pastures. The landscape itself bears the marks of their passing. Trails wind through golden grass, and the earth is pressed flat, where hooves have worn a living road. Waterholes, once teeming, are now rimmed with mud, and the vegetation is sparse. The predators, too, sense the change, their movements shifting in silent response to the ebb and flow of prey. As the herds journey back toward the Serengeti, the land transforms behind them. The Mara's bounty fades, replaced by the promise of new rains in the south. Thunderclouds gather on the horizon, and the scent of moisture rides on the wind. Every step is guided by memory and the hope of renewal. The journey is quieter now, marked by the patience and endurance of seasoned travelers. Along the way, the herds encounter the echoes of their past, crossing old riverbeds, passing the bones of those left behind, and grazing upon fields where new grass begins to sprout. With each passing year, the cycle repeats. The migration is never truly finished. It is a rhythm as old as the land itself. The herds move forward, carrying the future within them, driven by the eternal promise of rain, grass, and life. And so, as the clouds gather and the southern plains beckon, anticipation builds. The great herds press onward, ready to begin the ancient dance once more, an endless journey woven into the very heart of the wild. By August, the migrating herds have reached the northernmost edge of the Serengeti, and now stand before the most legendary and perilous obstacle of their journey, the Mara River. This deep, fast-flowing river carves a winding border between Tanzania and Kenya, and forms the final barrier between the parched plains and the lush green promise of the Maasai Mara. The Mara River crossing is the dramatic climax of the Great Migration, a moment where instinct, courage, and desperation collide. Here, the river is wide and unpredictable, its surface broken by swirling eddies and hidden rocks. The current is swift and merciless, churning with the force of recent rains, and even the strongest swimmers are tested to their limits. The river's power is relentless, its muddy waters concealing unseen dangers beneath the surface. The banks themselves are steep and treacherous, slick with mud, and carved by countless hooves. Animals struggle for footing, slipping and sliding as they attempt to enter and exit the water. In the chaos, panic surges through the herd. The press of bodies leads to trampling, and the cries of the injured echo above the roar of the river. Yet despite the confusion, there is a remarkable sense of unity among the animals. Wildebeest and zebras gather in massive numbers, their bodies pressed together for safety, their collective movement a shield against the dangers ahead. Their calls rise in a chorus of anxiety and encouragement, each animal drawing strength from the presence of the herd. They pace along the riverbank, restless and uncertain, searching for a crossing point where the current is weakest and the banks less steep. The herd's leaders, often older and more experienced animals, edge forward, testing the water and signaling when it is time to move. Suddenly, without warning, one brave individual leaps into the river. This single act of courage breaks the tension, and the rest of the herd surges forward in a thundering wave. Thousands pour into the river, hooves churning the water into froth, bodies pressed together in a desperate bid for survival. The crossing is a test of endurance and teamwork. Animals swim side by side, some nudging the weak or young forward, others forming living bridges across the swiftest currents. Behind them, the dry plains urge them onward, the promise of green grass and fresh water just out of reach. Ahead, the Maasai Mara beckons, a land of abundance and safety. For many, the crossing is a triumph. They battle the currents, avoid hidden rocks, and scramble up the far bank, exhausted but alive. Survivors pause, panting and mud-splattered, before moving on to join the herd in the green pastures beyond. But for many others, the Mara River is unforgiving. Some are swept away by the current, their strength failing midstream. The young and the weak, separated from the herd, struggle desperately against the flow. Others are trampled in the panic, lost beneath the surge of hooves and bodies. Beneath the surface, danger lurks. The Mara River is home to a dense population of enormous Nile crocodiles, some of the largest in Africa, lying in wait for the perfect moment to strike. These ancient predators position themselves at the crossing points, their patience rewarded by the chaos above. In the confusion, some wildebeest fall victim to their powerful jaws, vanishing in a violent splash. The river becomes a graveyard, its banks littered with the remains of those who did not make it. It is a stark and sobering reminder of the immense cost of this annual pilgrimage. Yet the survivors do not linger. Driven by instinct and the strength of the herd, they press on, moving forward into the safety and abundance of the Maasai Mara, their journey marked by courage, teamwork, and the relentless will to survive. After braving the perilous currents and lurking dangers of the Mara River, the great herds emerge, weary but undeterred, onto the golden grasslands of the Maasai Mara. Here, in this sprawling sanctuary, the animals find a world transformed by the promise of rain and renewal. The air is alive with the lowing of wildebeest, the braying of zebras, and the soft rustle of countless hooves. From August to October, the Mara becomes a living tapestry, woven from the movements of millions. Each dawn, the plains awaken as herds stir, mothers nudge their calves to their feet, and the day's search for food begins. The Mara is a seamless extension of the Serengeti, its endless grasslands stretching to the horizon, a boundless stage for the drama of survival. Rainfall breathes life into the land, painting the hills in vibrant green. Here the grazers find sanctuary, their bodies replenished by the rich, nourishing grass. Wildebeest, zebras and gazelles form vast, intermingled communities, each species playing its part in the daily rhythm of the plains. They graze side by side, ever watchful, their senses attuned to the subtle signals of the wild. As the sun climbs, the herds rest in the shade of scattered acacias, calves nestling close to their mothers, while adults graze and regain the strength lost on their long journey. The Mara teems with life, herds of antelope, warthogs rooting in the earth, and towering giraffes browsing the treetops. Each animal, from the smallest insect to the largest mammal, is a vital thread in the ecosystem's intricate web. Among the grass, predators move with silent purpose. Lions, cheetahs, and hyenas are ever present, their lives intertwined with those of the herds. The arrival of so many herbivores brings a season of abundance. The land pulses with energy, and every creature senses the opportunity and danger that comes with it. Lions prowl the edges of the herds, their golden eyes fixed on the weakest or most unwary. Their hunts are a test of patience and teamwork, a daily contest between predator and prey. Prides rest beneath the shade, cubs tumbling in play, learning the skills they will one day need to survive. During migration, the lions are at their most active, their bellies full, their cubs thriving in the season of plenty. They move with stealth and power, blending into the tall grass, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When the hunt begins, it is a spectacle of strategy and strength, the pride working as one to bring down their quarry. After a successful hunt, the pride feasts together, their bonds reinforced by shared triumph. For the lionesses, this is a crucial time to nurture their young, teaching them the ways of the wild and ensuring the future of the pride. In the shadows, the elusive leopard stalks, masters of stealth, they haunt the riverine forests and rocky kopjes, watching and waiting for the right moment to pounce. With silent grace, they hunt gazelles and young wildebeest, relying on surprise and agility. Their kills are hoisted high into the trees, safe from the ever-watchful eyes of lions and hyenas below. Spotted hyena clans roam the plains in formidable numbers, their social bonds and cunning making them both hunters and scavengers. Fierce confrontations erupt over carcasses, the balance of power shifting with every encounter. Cheetahs built for speed thrive in the open grasslands. Their days are spent scanning the horizon, ready to unleash breathtaking chases after nimble gazelles. The cycle of life and death is ever present. While predators feast, the herds graze nearby, always alert, always wary. For the migrating animals, this is a time of renewal. Mothers graze with their young, teaching them the ways of the herd and the dangers of the wild. The lush grass allows females to regain their strength, preparing for the long journey back and the next generation of life. Pregnant females feed in anticipation of the birthing season, their bodies nourished by the bounty of the Mara. The young, born in the safety of the Serengeti, now grow strong in the Mara, their days filled with play and discovery. They mimic the adults, learning to graze, to run, and to sense danger, skills that will one day mean the difference between life and death. Each sunrise brings a moment of peace, herds grazing in the golden light, the Savannah calm before the day's challenges begin anew. Yet, vigilance never fades. At any moment, the tranquility can shatter as predators test the herd's defenses. In the Maasai Mara, every day is a story of community, survival, and the delicate balance that sustains this vibrant, ever-changing world. As October fades into November, a subtle but powerful transformation begins to ripple across the East African plains. The air grows heavy with anticipation, and the sky, once a relentless blue, now fills with the promise of change. The winds, shifting from the north, sweep over the golden grasses, carrying with them the scent of distant rain. Dark clouds gather on the horizon, their shadows racing across the land, signaling the return of the short rains to the south. The first raindrops fall, tentative at first, then in sudden drumming bursts. The parched earth drinks deeply, and the transformation is immediate and profound. From the volcanic soil, fresh blades of grass push upward, painting the plains in vibrant green. The land, once cracked and lifeless, is reborn in a matter of days. Across the plains, wildebeest and zebra lift their heads, nostrils flaring as they catch the scent of rain on the wind. Instinct stirs within them, a signal as old as time itself. The herds, scattered across the Maasai Mara, begin to gather. Driven by the irresistible pull of fresh pasture, they form great columns and surge southward, leaving behind the now depleted grasslands of the north. Their journey is fraught with challenges. The terrain is uneven, the dust thick beneath their hooves, and every step southward is a test of endurance and resolve. Once again, the Mara River stands in their path. Its currents, swollen by the rains, are unpredictable. Crocodiles, patient and silent, wait beneath the surface, ready to seize any opportunity. As the herds press on, they enter territories untouched for months. Tall grasses and scattered trees offer both nourishment and danger, for predators lie hidden in the shadows, watching every movement. Lions crouch low in the grass, leopards slink through the undergrowth, and hyenas patrol the migration routes, all waiting for the weary or the unwary to fall behind. The weakest and most exhausted animals, worn thin by the long trek and the lean times in the Mara, become the first targets for these ever-watchful hunters. The migration route winds southward through the eastern woodlands and plains of the Serengeti, passing through regions like Lobo, where the landscape shifts and the air is thick with the scent of new growth. Open grasslands give way to acacia woodlands, the scenery changing with every passing day. The herds move through a patchwork of habitats, each offering its own challenges and rewards. The migration is not a single, unified mass. Instead, the animals spread out across a broad front, grazing as they go, each group following its own path but all drawn by the same promise of rain and renewal. They follow the scent of distant storms, the rumble of thunder guiding them ever southward toward the storm-washed grasslands that beckons on the horizon. This southern journey is less frantic than the desperate dash north, but it is no less demanding. Day after day the herds march on, a living river of life stretching to the horizon. By December, the circle is nearly complete. The rains have transformed the southern plains, and the herds draw closer to their ancestral birthing grounds. At last, the herds arrive on the lush emerald plains of the southern Serengeti and the Ndutu region. Here, the grass is thick and nourishing, the land vibrant with new life. The landscape, revitalized by the rains, is ready to sustain the millions of animals that have returned. Pregnant wildebeest, heavy with the next generation, gather in anticipation. Soon, the calving season will begin, and the cycle of life will start anew. This epic return, perfectly timed with the rains, is a testament to the deep connection between the animals and the ever-changing Serengeti. It is a timeless rhythm, departure and return, hardship and renewal, a pilgrimage that sustains not only the herds, but the entire Serengeti Mara ecosystem year after year. The Great Migration is a symbol of the untamed wilderness, a natural wonder that has endured for ages. Yet, even in the heart of this wild expanse, the migration faces threats that arise not from humans, but from the very forces of nature itself. The most formidable of these is the ever-changing climate. The Savannah is a land of extremes, where the rhythm of life is dictated by the rains. But in recent years, the weather has become increasingly unpredictable, with seasons arriving late or not at all. Unpredictable weather patterns alter the timing and intensity of the rains that drive the entire migratory cycle. When the rains fail, the grasslands wither, and the herds are forced to wander further, searching for the nourishment that sustains them. Severe droughts can transform the once lush plains into barren wastelands. Waterholes shrink and disappear, and the animals must travel ever greater distances, risking exhaustion and starvation along the way. Conversely, when the rains come in excess, the rivers swell and flood the plains. River crossings, already perilous, become deadly gauntlets. The currents grow stronger, and many animals, especially the young and the weak, are swept away. These fluctuations disrupt the synchronized rhythm of the ecosystem. The herds, once moving in harmony with the land, now find themselves out of step with the cycles that have guided them for generations. The grasses may not grow at the right time for the arrival of the herds, and the birthing season, so carefully timed to coincide with abundance, can be thrown into disarray. Calves born too early or too late face a world of scarcity. The animals are resilient, but their ability to adapt to such rapid and unpredictable environmental shifts is limited. The very foundation of the migration, the reliable pattern of the seasons, is becoming increasingly unstable, posing a profound threat to the survival of the herds. But nature's challenges do not end with the weather. The migration is a journey fraught with danger, where predators lie in wait and the weak are left behind. Lions, hyenas, and crocodiles are ever-present threats, their survival intertwined with the fate of the herds. For every successful crossing, there are those who fall prey to the hunters of the plains and rivers. At the riverbanks, crocodiles wait in silence, their patience rewarded by the chaos of the crossing. The river itself becomes a battleground where only the strongest and luckiest survive. On the open plains, lions and hyenas target the vulnerable, newborn calves, the injured and the old. The migration is a test of endurance where the slow and the weak are claimed by the relentless cycle of life and death. Exhaustion and injury take their toll as well. Some animals collapse from fatigue, unable to continue, while opportunistic scavengers circle above, ready to claim what the predators leave behind. Through all these trials, the migration endures, a testament to the resilience of life. But as the natural threats intensify, the ancient cycle grows ever more fragile, balanced on the edge of survival and loss. The story of the Great Migration is one of constant challenge, where the forces of nature and the instincts of predator and prey shape the destiny of millions. In this wild theatre, every season brings new trials, and only the most adaptable will see another year. Against all odds, the great herds of the Serengeti and Mara continue their timeless journey, driven by an ancient rhythm that echoes through the heart of Africa. Each year, millions of wildebeest, zebras and gazelles set out across the vast plains, undeterred by the challenges that lie ahead. Their resilience is a testament to the enduring power of nature, a story written in hoofprints and dust, in the thunder of migration and the quiet moments of survival. Across the endless grasslands, the animals adapt to every twist of fate. When drought parches the earth, they press on, searching for the promise of rain. When rivers swell and currents rage, they gather their courage and plunge forward, forging new paths for those who follow. Each sunrise brings new hope. Calves are born into the golden light, learning to stand on trembling legs, ready to join the journey. The herds move as one, guided by instinct and memory, their unity a shield against the dangers that stalk the plains. The ancient corridors carved by generations of hooves remain open, lifelines that connect water, grass, and shelter. These roots are the arteries of the wild, sustaining the cycle of life that has endured for millennia. The wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles have learned to read the land, sensing the subtle changes in wind and scent, the distant rumble of thunder, the promise of new grass. Their journey is a dance of adaptation, a living testament to the power of perseverance. Even as the world changes around them, the herds endure. They find new grazing grounds, cross unfamiliar rivers, and teach each new generation the secrets of survival. Their story is one of hope, of life finding a way, year after year. In the shimmering heat of midday, the herds rest beneath scattered acacias, conserving their strength for the miles ahead. As dusk falls, they rise again, moving in unison toward the horizon, their silhouettes etched against the setting sun. The cycle continues, unbroken. The migration is more than a journey. It is a living symbol of hope, resilience, and the unyielding will to survive. Every thunder of hooves, every leap across a swollen river, every newborn calf that rises to join the herd, is a promise that life will endure. The animal's ability to adapt, to overcome, and to thrive is a beacon for the future. The great herds are the heartbeat of the Savannah, their movements shaping the land and nourishing countless other creatures. Their journey is a reminder that hope is not a distant dream, but a living force, renewed with every step. As the seasons turn and the rains return, the plains burst into life once more. The herds surge forward, following the green tide, their resilience a testament to the enduring spirit of the wild. The rivers, once obstacles, become lifelines. The grasslands, once barren, become a feast. The migration continues, a never-ending cycle of renewal and hope. In the vastness of the Savannah, the great herds move onward, their journey a living legacy. The future is written in their resilience, in the endless cycle of birth, struggle, and triumph. With every new dawn, the migration begins anew. The animals press forward, undaunted, their hope as boundless as the plains themselves. The wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles are the guardians of this wild world, their journey a testament to the enduring power of life. Their hope is the hope of the Savannah, a promise that the cycle will continue unbroken. The thundering hooves of the great herds are the pulse of the earth itself, a living, breathing hope for the future, echoing across the endless plains, forever unbroken, forever unending.